Kim Zolciak, desperate to reclaim full-time role on The Real Housewives of Atlanta. Kim Zolciak is still one of the best-known women from The Real Housewives of Atlanta. She even has her own spin-off. But while Don't Be Tardy is still going, and despite the nasty feud between Kim Zolciak and Nene Leakes, Kim has been demoted from Real Housewife to Friend of the Housewives. And according to this report, she's desperate to reclaim her status. And willing to do anything. As we've already mentioned in recent posts, Kim Zolciak's demotion from being a full cast member of The Real Housewives of Atlanta to being the recurring guest is a pretty hefty change. On scripted shows, when you see somebody go from a cast member to a recurring guest star, odds are pretty good that they're getting killed off at the mid-season finale. Thankfully, The Real Housewives franchise doesn't work like that, yet, nobody give Andy Cohen any ideas. But, from the perspective of Kim Zolciak and from the perspective of her fans, the situation royally sucks. And now a report reveals that Kim thinks so, too. Radar Online reports that, thanks to Kim's demotion, she's on fewer than half of this season's Real Housewives of Atlanta episodes. Kim doesn't go on any of the out-of-town trips with the full-time housewives. She just pops in as a guest when they're still in Atlanta. You know that this is giving her fans a sense of whiplash. Earlier this week, we talked about Kim Zolciak on our Raw Season 10 Episode 9 recap. She's still having an impact on the show. But not the one that she'd like to have. As Radar Online reports, Kim is willing to make any compromise to reclaim her former place on the series. According to their insider, Kim offered to take a big pay cut on Don't Be Tardy in order to come back full-time on Raw. That's a hefty sacrifice. Or at least it sounds like one. But you have to remember that Real Housewives make bank. They have a much wider audience than Don't Be Tardy. Kim told producers that she would be happy to not make as much money on her spin-off show if they would let her come back full-time on Raw. Radar Online's insider also reveals how producers responded to that offer. The Raw ladies make so much money. It sounds like there are genuinely budgetary concerns that limit how many housewives they can have each season. And most likely only Kenya is leaving after this season, so there might not be enough to bring her back.
No, I'm not a writer.
Without Kenya Moore, Kim will also have fewer people with whom to feud. So that may take away incentive to bring her back into the fold, full-time. Worst of all, it sounds like Bravo and Kim have different estimations of her value as a reality star. Kim might not be worth all the money she wants, even if she is willing to take a pay cut on her other show. Ouch. Look, an inflated sense of self-worth is almost a requirement before becoming a reality star. It definitely goes with the territory. But it's sad that it may screw Kim Zolciak, and her fans, out of a whole heaping mess of airtime.